What's up, guys? We're back here in the garage today. Today we're working on the LS Miata again. Today's gonna be a start video. You're actually gonna be able to hear it start. Last time we had actually updated all the fuel system. We had gotten the injector set up, the intake set up, all that kind of stuff. So today we're actually going to be setting up the cooling system. We could have primed it last week. We decided not to. We wanted to get some coolant in there. I'm not gonna be actually using coolant for this time. It'll probably come out a few more times while we rebuild things, tune things, and get things set up. But I want to get the coolant system all set up and running. So today we're going to be putting in our Mishimoto cooler and then plumbing all that up, getting the line set in, and then cycling it and seeing where we're at. So check it out, let's get going. So the first part of this is getting all of the wires tucked away. Down here on the bottom I have two fan wires, one for the left fan and one for the right fan, of course. And we'll get this plumbed up. This is a Mishimoto 3-core radiator, the X Speed, X Performance. I forget exactly what the verbiage is they used for that. Like I said, we had went through and sealed this completely, so this is all, not airtight, I wouldn't say, but all the passageways are free for the most part, so that air cannot easily escape out the back of them. You can kind of see it in the back here. And we'll get this routed down here. If you've never swapped a Miata radiator, it's super easy. The biggest things we have to watch for in ours is obviously the water pump pulley is very, very close to this. As you can tell, I trimmed this up a little bit. But we're just gonna get this lowered right here. Make sure to be careful not to get stuck on anything. You can tear cables out, do a lot of different damage, to a lot of different stuff, just by getting a cable stuck on some kind of route or some kind of ridge. I think I'm clear for the most part. We're gonna keep dropping. Oh, not quite clearing this. Where are we stuck in? Oh, this cable's stuck in here. If you're swapping this on any other car, or just a normal Miata, this is a very easy swap. This car is obviously a little tighter than your normal Miata is going to be. Looks like we lost the pin in the front here. There's two pins that sit there, and they have a little cotter pin. It appears that I lost one at some point, which is okay. We can always add a new one. This doesn't need to be permanently fixed right now. This is probably going to come out again sometime soon. So we just want this to be in its comfortable resting place for it. So now that that's done, we'll plumb up our steam port right up here to the front. Only the LS have the steam port. This is actually aluminum welded on here, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you have a Miata one, it's not going to have this port. This was optionally added later. Cool. That is set up now. There's obviously two of the radiator fans right here. We'll get those plugged in. On your stock Miata one, you will also have to modify those cables a little bit. I think you have to crimp on another connector or wire up another connector for yourself to use. Cool, we are all set up. All these cables are out of the way. They're not gonna be touching anything. Well, hopefully not touching anything. Probably just gonna wrap this around here, so that way I know for sure this one's not gonna rub up against anything. And like I said, we wanna get everything out of the way that we possibly can, especially on this first startup, just because we wanna keep it clean and clear and make sure that nothing is going to go wrong. And attach this pipe down here. This is just the crossover pipe for the coolant. This just slides on like this. Ooh, it's a little hard. I'll give you one-handed. And then we're going to get our tool to clamp this together to get that hose clamp around there. Cool, and now that we got that bottom pipe on, we're gonna put this top pipe on, which I just did. We have the steam port. We're not gonna be running a coolant overflow right now. We're gonna take this cap off. Oop. Take this cap off, and now we're going to fill this up with some water. If you can use the coolant at this point, if I was permanently plumbing it, I use water in my car normally during the summer anyways. I don't drive this car in the winter or anything like that, and I definitely am going to take the coolant system off before the winter. Well, it is cold out there. My garage does have a heater in it, so I'm not too worried about this block freezing up and that water expanding in there. If you have water in your car or in your coolant system, and it goes below freezing for an extended period of time, you can crack the block because obviously water expands when it's frozen. So we don't want that to happen at all. You'll lose your block. There's really nothing you can do about it at that point. It's actually what happened to this motorcycle right here. The track bike that previous owner I bought it from left water in there, cracked the block. We had to replace that. I don't have running water in this garage, so I'm just gonna keep filling up this 2 liter up with water. Don't be worried about spilling if it's just water, because the water won't hurt anything, obviously. All these electronics are meant to at least get a little bit wet, or else I wouldn't be driving it. So, fill her up. I think this takes like 8 liters of water or something like that. So it's a little bit of a big boy. All right, the dummy intake is in. We did a final checkpoint. We went over everything. We'll kind of go over it one more time, just so you can kind of see what I'm looking for in a video like this. Sorry, I had to rotate the camera around. So, most important things we want to do is make sure that we have no vacuum leaks. So I know I've plugged up everything. Everything's plumbed up that way. We have our oil catch can on. All the spark plugs are in. All the ignition packs are plugged in. We have oil in the system. We're gonna check that oil right here in a second, but I know it's good. I just filled the car up. Then we have everything plugged in over here. Our throttle positions, our throttle cables are all set up. Take any tools off. We don't want any tools sitting near it or any rags that can be sucked in. We don't have anything like that. It's not an open intake for right now. We don't have anything rubbing right here. While this is a little close, it's about how close it is when we're actually driving anyways. We try to pull all that cables forward so nothing can really rub or anything like that. We have our grounds in. That's our ground to our chassis. And then we have our ECU ground right there. And then you also usually want an oil pump or something like this. If you don't get oil the first second of startup, turn the thing off. It's not getting oil. We should probably open the garage for this. It's going to be a little smooth. We went over the interior as well. We have the interior grounded. Everything's grounded in here. No steering wheel. We just have the dummy oil pump, so as long as that moves up to where I know is a good oil pressure for a startup on an LS, then we'll be good. We are also going to make sure to grab a fire extinguisher and put that somewhere close because you never know what can happen. It's just me, so we'll put that there next to there because I'm gonna have to run out here anyways as soon as I start it. So you hear the buzzing. That means the car is primed. Everything's ready. I put the neutral connector back on. There's the fuel pump. Fuel pump's cranked. We got a little bit of gas in here. Coolant's good. Now we'll start it up, and if we don't see oil pressure within 1-2 seconds, we're gonna turn it off right away. And I have no clutch neutral safety switch, so that will just start up. Oh, it didn't like that. It didn't like that. Let's try it again. Okay, it doesn't like it. Whatever it's doing. Now, something I didn't think of is that the battery has been sitting out here for about a week, so it could be a little low on juice from sitting in the cold. I can smell gas up here, so I know it's priming, and I know everything is connected, so let's give that a try. Still not quite there yet. Guys, I am an absolute moron. This is why you check things really closely. I was a little too distracted. We're gonna put these in. All right, we reconnected those. Is the light on? No. Reconnected those. Let's give this another crank. Hope for the best. Primed up. We're getting oil pressure. Rough idle though. Go to the front. Burning some stuff up. We'll let this idle for a second. I'm going to take the video off so I can pay attention. Lined up. can be for a big cam V8. See a little bit of the gauges there. Everything's looking good now. So now we're just going to wait for the coolant to warm up a little bit to kind of open up and see what we can get there. And let this car get full operating temperature, which I think we had set to 110 degrees. So this makes sense. The idle for this car is set at 850, and that was with the previous cam for that choppy idle. So 1,000 is actually pretty good for a cold start. We have great oil pressure. That's good for a cold LS. Yeah, and it's smelling good. It's starting to pick up now. The gasket sealer is starting to work on those heads, so that's where that smoke is. It's actually bonding the material there and heating it all up. You actually use black RGB on the Sanderson block cutter heads. I thought I was leaking something for a second, but that's the water from when we were spilling it. And that was the oil from the previous oil leak that I had that I resolved from the oil temp, or the oil pressure sensor. That was leaking before. I fixed that, forgot to clean up the oil. Panicking there for a second. Look at that headlight shake. That's some serious cam wobble. The whole car is shaking left and right. Starting to find that cam. So it's starting to find that 850. 850 should have been the idle. It's sitting right about, I'd say 900, but it's pretty close to that 850 mark that we were looking for. We'll let her warm up for about 10 minutes, and then we'll give it some low revs. Even though I've heard this start a couple hundred times, and even once this season, there's nothing like a real first start. I mean, not just cranking it, but letting it run, and just hearing it, letting it warm up. Something so special about a big V8 in a tiny Japanese car. Oh baby, this is taking a long time to warm up. I think we're gonna run out of gas here. This thing gets, like, by my measurements, about 100 miles to the tank in a Miata. So like 8 to 12 miles per gallon. And we just put a bigger cam in it, a soon to be bigger intake, letting in more fuel, more air, and the bigger intake, and the bigger intake manifold. This is gonna be just gobbling up that fuel. She's all warmed up now. So I'm going to give you guys a taste of a little bit of a rev. I think it's about time to turn it off. I know, I don't want to either, but we're gonna give it a quick kill switch. As you can tell, the gauges are looking good. I know it climbed up a little bit. I have to look at that. I don't know what it is. I don't think anything's blocking the filter. It's not too high though. The coolant spot is warm as it gets, idling about the quarter mark. We are putting gauges in right there, which are over on the workbench. And we're gonna do that next. That'll be our next video. So I'm gonna turn this off now. So for the next video, we're gonna be putting this in. There's a lot of tape. I hate rattles. We're gonna be putting gauges in there in the eyeballs. This delete kit down here, and putting this back in the car and getting the interior wrapped up. The new race seats are supposed to be here this week, so that's super exciting. Workbench is a little busy right now, filming a few different things right now. Luckily, we didn't have to use the fire extinguisher. But other than that, the car sounds great. The car looks great. The car, you know, it feels great from the inside. I didn't see anything that necessarily shook out to me right off the bat. I'm probably going to turn it off and then turn it back on after this and make sure that there's no ECU errors. And if there's any ECU errors, I'll make sure to update you guys on that. But I think we're mostly okay. Thanks for watching. Next week, we'll be working on putting those gauges in and getting the interior wrapped up. So hope to see you guys soon.